So thanks for having the caucus and for doing all this and your consideration of this resolution. Just as background, when things were happening yesterday at the State House, at Congress and the Capitol building, Laura Sibilia and I were communicating. And so this, there have been many iterations of this resolution throughout the last, almost 24 hours now, but, especially after the governor came out with his statement. But we both thought, and I think I'm speaking for Laura here, although she might have more to say at some point, but we both thought it was important, given what was happening, what was transpiring down there, the importance and the symbol of our Capitol building, and all that was happening down there, the rioters, what they were doing was appalling. I was ashamed. I was immensely saddened. I used to work there. I worked in the Senate for a number of years, and I cherished that building and the symbol that it represented, and what that building represented. So I thought it was important that we express something today, or well, now it's going to be today. So I thought it was critical that we do this as a body, or we be given the opportunity in any case. And so that's how this came about. And I know all of you share my the appalling view of what happened yesterday. And I just want to thank you. I want to encourage you to support this resolution. And thank you again. Appreciate it.
I want to thank Heidi and Laura for bringing it forward first off, and so quickly. And I really want to urge every single member of the Republican caucus support, if not sign on to this. I have already. I think that it is critical that we acknowledge that what happened in DC yesterday has nothing to do with Republican principles. It has nothing to do with the values that I ran on and that I believe in when I think of the Republican umbrella. What happened yesterday was domestic terrorism, and our failure to acknowledge that will be a disgrace. And I just want to urge every single member to support and sign on.
Thank you.
See if I can get this out. Or maybe it's / we, have been put in a position. And I don't like being put in positions by other people. And by being put in this position, I'm not talking about anybody in the Vermont State Legislature. I'm talking about, bottom line, I'm talking about the president. And I kind of look at my situation potentially being different than some of the other people in the caucus or in the building. And what that position is for me is, and first I want to say, when riots were happening around the United States this summer, I spoke out against them. And my main and a big reason for me speaking out against them is my son. My son being a police officer in Seattle, where was kind of ground zero at one time as far as these protests goes, was put in a position by other people. He was put in a dangerous position. And so my feeling is around that, well, I think it's obvious what my feeling is around that my son and other police officers were unnecessarily put in positions of danger. He didn't get injured. I mean, he had friends of his that were taking the frozen water bottles off their head, and the bricks, and broken orbital bones and losing digits and losing eyes and that type of thing. And I look at this in Washington D.C. with our with our police forces, whether it's the D.C. police or even National Guard or you know, local state police, whatever. They were put in a position unnecessarily, and again, I believe it was by the president. He incited this. He falsely claimed that this could be changed, you know, in Washington, D.C. That's not true. This is an individual state. It's our individual states that have voted. If there is, and I believe there could be and probably is, some issues with the voting laws in some states, that's where it needs to be changed. It can't be changed in Washington, D.C. In a sense, they have nothing to do with it other than to count the electoral ballot. And you know, all this, like everybody's saying, is appalling. It really is. I mean, this is a direct attack on our way of government. And the thing that baffles me is people attack in Washington, D.C. because they believe that laws were broken. Well, if people believe this is a country of laws, then you don't break laws because somebody else broke a law. You go about it in a way that's lawful and peaceful, and that's all there is to it. In closing, I'm a bit taken back that the president did not step up and condemn the violence. They're not protesters, they're rioters, and they're creating violence. And just to say, I love you, go home, it just baffles me. It just baffles me. I mean, he could have come out and, you know, as soon as the first person breached that wall, he could have come out and you know, and condemned it, and it probably wouldn't have happened. It probably wouldn't have gone any further. And again, I just hate being put in positions. I don't like these kinds of resolutions, but I just feel that I'm being pushed and forced into supporting the resolution. I certainly, you know, accept the premise behind it, but I will be signing on. And Heidi, you can add my name right now. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say that I remember back when we started the session with Governor Shumlin, we had a major invasion of the State House. And we had another invasion, I think it was like a year or two ago. I mean, this is dangerous. This is difficult. I'm not sure that this is the end of democracy as we know it, but I do think that what happened yesterday is just appalling and unsafe, and I think that the resolution is a little bit better than it was when it first started, and I think I can sign on to it. But for those of us who were here when we had that huge demonstration in the State House and the violation of all of our rules and just total chaos, it was frightening and it was inappropriate. And I'm sure there are going to be heads to roll, and I'm sure that there's going to be increased security at the Congress. But that was just insane to see that. And I listened to Heidi talk about having worked there. I've been in that building enough, and my daughter works in that building. And you know, somebody didn't do the security correctly, and obviously the president was inciting a riot. I mean, these people were a mob, and you know, you don't treat legislative bodies and legislative public buildings of any kind like that anywhere. So I support this.
Okay, I want to say that I will be signing on to this. It's one of those resolutions that it's got enough language in it that I like. But personally, I'm sick of having to defend myself as a Republican in my district because of the actions of President Trump. And it's the first time in all my campaigning years that I've had to do that. And I've always been proud to be, and I still am proud to be a Vermont Republican, but I think the president stepped over the line on this one. And I know the logistics are crazy in this thing, but for that reason, I'll be signing on. Thanks.
The President of the United States encouraged and incited an attempted coup of a government where he was trying to benefit from and using the apparatus of government to try to affect that. He should absolutely resign his position or be removed from office.
Thank you. I will simply say I endorse and appreciate Representative Beck's comments. I think they are exactly right. I thank Representative Schumann for helping get this underway, and I have signed on and will support it.
I feel the need to take time in caucus and not on the floor to respond to some of the sentiments.
We have
that-
2 minutes because it's almost
30
over.
seconds, I promise.
Okay.
Oh,
I will fight for the party that I believe in, and that is antithetical to supporting Trump or any of the actions yesterday. And I will condemn it, and I'll not cover for cowards, and nobody in this caucus should. This is a moment of reckoning and should be treated as such.